Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Power Rangers Season 2, Episode 36 of my show, but this is about Episode 34 of Season 2. Now, Episode 34 in the original Power Rangers second season is known as Where There's Smoke, There's Fire. Now, but before I actually start talking about this video, I just want to mention, I'm sorry I didn't upload many videos for February. I did upload that one a couple of weeks ago, and I would have uploaded a few more last week before the end of February happened, but I got that flu bug that had been going around, but I'm good now. Actually, the only reason I didn't upload any videos in February, except for that one I did a couple of weeks last week, was because February is it's a short month, unless it's a leap year, so. But enough getting off topic. This is History of Power Rangers Season 2, Episode 36 of my show, but this is about Episode 34 of Season 2, and Episode 34 in the original Power Rangers second season is known as Where There's Smoke, There's Fire. Now, as the name of this episode kind of suggests, this episode basically focuses on fire safety kind of thing. Now, what I mean by that is the theme for this episode. Anyway, the way this episode starts off is Miss Appleby is telling the students that Firefighter Newman is about to choose the junior fire safety captain from Angel Grove, and then basically. Oh, and before I continue, I just want to mention something about that. The fire thing is actually also going to play a hand in Zedd's latest monster, at least the theme aspect of it, I mean. Anyway, getting back into it, Newman is telling the students that the way to spot fires and the way to avoid them is relatively simple, because apparently most fires can be started by common human error and stuff like plugging. I'm just gonna provide a little example here. It's actually explained later in the video, so I'm gonna in the segment where it shows. But anyway, then Miss Appleby informs the students that Firefighter Newman in the episode is gonna pick the student whose report, whose essay, the student whose essay was the best, and that person would become the fire safety captain. And then basically what happens is after that Newman is telling the students that while he was impressed with all of their essays and such, there was one essay that caught his eye, and then Bulk decides to get up because he thinks his was the one that was chosen, but it's not. And then he said that they should avoid fire and stuff as fire safety captain, which is funny because his was not the one that was chosen. And then basically Miss Appleby is telling Bulk to sit down, and then she's then asking Firefighter Newman to continue, and then he's saying that the student he selected is Aiesha, and then after that, basically what happens is the other Rangers in the class are congratulating Aiesha for being the one chosen, and then basically what happens after that is then it goes into a segment where Zedd is, and then he's like, "So the Power Rangers are interested in fire safety." Well, and then he tells Golda that he's just become interested in fire himself, and then basically, now what he means by interested in it is a way to use it as one of his means for one of his plans. Now what I mean by that is, this is gonna sound kind of little bit ridiculous, but the reason why I say it's gonna play a hand in one of his plans is because of one of his latest monsters, which apparently he called Flamehead. Oh, which is kind of a funny name for a monster because it's a fire monster and it's got a head that's like fire. So Flamehead is sort of a little ironic, but still. I just thought I'd get that out of the way there. Anyway, basically when he he wonders, Goldar wonders what his master is going to do with the monster, and he's gonna basically send the Rangers an ultimatum, whereas either they surrender to him or he'll have his Flamehead monster burn down Angel Grove. Oh, which is kind of a stupid, well, not really a stupid plan, but it's a good plan strategically, but it's also a little stupid because the Rangers never surrender to the enemy in this series, so it's sort of half and half. And anyway, getting back into it, then it goes into a scene in the school where Aiesha is, and then she's giving a demonstration on what firefighter knew, and just explained about how most fires can be avoided with common sense, and then she uses an electrical socket, and she plugs a lot of electronic like hair appliances into it, and then after that basically then her and Kimberly get into another little talking thing about gel and curling irons, and then Miss Appleby is trying to have them refocus, and then that's when Bulk and Skull show up, and then Miss Appleby's wanting them to sit down because Aiesha's in the middle of a presentation. And then basically, Bulk tells Miss Appleby that he was sure that it would have been a written rousing presentation, but he's also explaining about, like, he says that basically he has their own presentation to give, which is basically a presentation where he's going to, as a part of the Junior Fire Safety Patrol thing, which is a junior firefighters club, in the episode, and then basically he explains to them about how he's gonna show them a presentation about a certain fire that happened, and a fire in the world known as the big one, and then essentially he's getting discouraged by that, and then basically but then Aiesha explains to Probably that it's okay because she said that this could be interesting. And then basically what happens is after that, after Vulcan Skull try to get the slide up for it, it doesn't work out, and then basically that causes them to have a little bit of a minor thing to happen with the electrical sockets, with having too much stuff plugged in, and then after that he explains that it was just a demonstration, but then Aiesha explained that it was a good demonstration of what not to do with a fire and stuff, and then basically Miss Appleby tells Aiesha that she's really proud of her, and then basically what happens after that is, then it goes into a scene where the Rangers are in the youth center, and after that, basically what happens is, Aiesha is having to put up flyers about how fire safety works, and looking at and having Ernie look at some of the stuff to go over for the fire safety protocol things. And then basically that's when Tommy shows up in the youth center, and he explains that he's going for a run with Rocky and Adam in the park. And then, basically, when Aiesha hears about that, if she asks them if they're going for a walk in the park, could they drop the flyers off over at some locations? And then he said he'll do that. They'll do that on the way, and then basically, then it goes into a scene where Zedd, where Goldar and Zedd are in the palace, and then Goldar's walking over to where Zedd is, and he's like, "You summoned me, Your Excellency?" And then basically, Zedd tells them, "Yes." Like, he tells them, "Yes." Like, he's like, "Yes, my flamehead monster is ready, but I want to unleash it without interference from those bothersome brats. Send in the putties." Which basically, what he basically means by that is his monster is finished, but I'm guessing for plot purposes this time around they wanted to make sure, he wanted to make sure that the Rangers were kept busy when he unleashed the monster, so that it wasn't, so that there was no distractions. So he has Goldar send the putties down to the park, and then that's when Rocky, Ty, and Adam are fighting it, and they manage to beat them. But then, and then they're wondering about what that was about, and then basically, Tommy said that he doesn't know, but he better go back to the youth center and check in on the others. And then basically what happens is after that, then he goes back to the youth center to meet up with Kimberly, Billy, and Aiesha. And then basically what happens is, before that, Aiesha is having a conversation with Ernie about, Ernie's having a conversation with her about the fire check, how he did, and then Aiesha tells him that he did pretty good, but there's still some things that he missed, and then he explains that those are not a bit of a problem. He can take care of them next week. But then Aiesha explains that basically there's no that thing as uh, little things when it comes to fire safety, and then she explains that next week might be too late, and then he agrees with her, and then he says he'll get on with it right away, and then he basically then he sends then Billy tells Aiesha that Ernie seems genuinely concerned, which is kind of true because he is kind of concerned. Then after that, Aiesha explains that she's responsible because she's the fire safety captain, and then basically, that's when Tommy shows back up at the youth center, and then he explains that he's glad that they're still there, and he explains to them what happened about how he was they were running through the park and the putty just showed up and attacked them. And then the others are wondering if they're okay, and then he said that they are, and then basically then Aiesha sees the flyers, and then after that Tommy tells her that they didn't get a chance to go to the mall and stuff to hang them up, and then basically what happens after that is she said that they better hurry to put them up on the other locations and such, and then it goes into a segment where Zedd is, and then Zedd's like, now to find the perfect spot for my flamehead monster to deliver his first message, and then he uses his visor like eyes to project an image down, like he uses his eye thing to project as a vision, like so see down to earth, and then he sees a barbecue pit, and then he's like, perfect, he'll turn that barbecue into an inferno, and then he basically summons the flamehead monster, and then after that, basically what happens is, when the flamehead monster is summoned, it's riding on a horse, basically, which is kind of funny in this respect. It's funny. It's a little funny. Anyway, then it goes into a scene where Ernie is back in the youth center with Kimberly and Billy, and then Ernie explains to them that Aiesha wants him to take apart the juice machine, so she can take a look at the wiring, and he explains that how is it supposed to run a juice bar without a juice machine, which is kind of true, because if it's a gym and juice bar, it still acts as a gym, but you can't get the juice bar segment of it because the juice machine is not working, because it's temporarily taken apart for looking at the electrical wiring and then put back together, which is kind of stupid. And then basically what happens is then the Rangers communicators go off, and then they teleport to the command center, and then basically Zordon is explaining to them the situation that of Zedd's latest monster, which is called the Flamehead monster, and if they don't surrender towards Zedd, the Flamehead monster will burn Angel Grove down. And then the Rangers are wondering what they can do to stop it, and then Zordon has them morphed, so they go to deal with the Flamehead monster, and then basically what happens is when they encounter the Flamehead monster the first time, the Flamehead monster is telling them to basically bow down to Lord Zedd, or Angel Grove will be turned into French toast, basically, which is kind of a funny way to say that it's going to be burned down. And then he said that they're not going to surrender. And then basically, they fight the Flamehead monster a little bit, but then it gets away, and then the Rangers teleport back to the... Well, actually, what happens after that is... Oh, I'm having a mental block here, guys. I'm sorry. I'm having a mental block. It's the reason I'm having a mental block here is not because of videos. It's because I haven't done one for a while. Because I would have done one earlier this week, but I had that little flu bug that happened, so I wasn't able to do one. I would have did one on Friday, but I had that flu and I'm having a little bit of a memory lapse as to what happens, but I do know I have gotten over that flu bug that I had though. But I do know what happens next is after the Rangers retreat back to the command center, they're wondering how to defeat the Flamehead monster, and then it shows back up, and then Billy explains that they have to go fight it, but then Aiesha tells Billy that this is her battle now. And she tells Kimberly and Billy to stay here and deal with find a way to finish off the Flamehead monster. And basically, Tommy, Rocky, and Adam go with her to battle it, and then Zordon agrees with it. Now, there's a little bit of a funny thing as to why he agreed with the thing at the park. The reason why he agreed was to sort of teach Aiesha a lesson about responsibility kind of thing, and I just wanted to get that out of the way. Anyway, then the Rangers, well, actually, it's Kimberly and Billy that stay behind, but Tommy, Rocky, Adam, and Aiesha go to fight the Flamehead monster, and then while they're fighting it, Aiesha tries to fight it on her own, and then Adam wonders what Aisha's doing, and then Rocky says that he doesn't know, but it's pretty dangerous. And then basically what happens is, after that, Zordon tells Alpha to teleport the Rangers back, and then they're wondering what they're doing back there, and then basically what happens is after that is Zordon is informing Aiesha that basically he let her go to the park so he can learn a lesson many times in life. Basically, the lesson he was trying to teach her was that many times in life, there were times when one's power isn't, where one cannot fight on their own, where they have to have help from their friends. Basically, so essentially, in this episode's case, it's sort of like the teamwork episode back in season 1, episode 3 of season 1, basically, essentially that one, because, now the reason why I say that is, it's got a similar kind of situation to it, and then basically, then Aiesha explains that it's her responsibility. She was chosen as the fire safety captain, but then Zordon explains to her that basically she accepted that title under normal circumstances, but this is not a normal circumstance. And then Tommy explains that there's no I in the word team, which is kind of true. And then basically what happens is she said that she guesses she's got a lot to learn about being a Power Ranger, and then Uh, then the Rangers go back to fight the Flamehead monster after that, and then they use their powers and combine their Ranger energies to try to push back the flames while fighting the Flamehead monster. And then after the Flamehead monster gets knocked down, Zedd gets a little upset that his monster gets knocked down because he's like, "You meddling morphing misfits! You think my goose is cooked? It is you who is in hot water because I'm gonna turn up the heat." And then he basically summons a potion and throws it down to the Flamehead monster, and then the potion explodes, and then the Flamehead monster grows, and then the Rangers battle the Flamehead monster in the Megazord, and then the Flamehead monster charges at them. Well, the five of the Rangers fight it in the Thunder Megazord, but Tommy fights it in the warrior mode, and then basically, well, actually, it's just the Megazord that fights, and then basically, the Flamehead monster said that they're going down in flames, and then basically, they managed to defeat the Flamehead monster, and then I'm guessing Zedd gets upset that he lost again, and then basically, Aiesha is explaining that she's to the others that she's sorry that she let the power of the responsibility get to her head and thinking she could handle things on her own, and then but Billy explains to her it's not her fault because taking that on is a big responsibility and stuff. And then after that, the Rangers are kind of having like they're having then Ernie brings over this cake, and then basically Kimberly tells Aiesha that they want to show her how happy they are about all the work she put in for Fire Safety Week, and then basically that's what the cake is for, and then that's where this episode stops. So if you guys like this video when I post it, just please give this video the real best you guys can, and I will see you guys probably later for the next video, or tomorrow for the next video. So until then, guys, just please give this video the real best you guys can, and I will see you all next time for the next video. So until then, like I always tell you with this series, may the power protect you always.